can I tell you something, Andrew Claudio, that I did not think that I'd be sitting here about to tell you?
I would love for you to tell me something like that, John.
I'm excited to do the second round of what we're doing today.
Okay.
Which is our power rankings. I'm genuinely looking forward to talking about the league at large because I was so frustrated with this activity last time we did it.
Yeah, when we had so small a sample size.
Because I'm like, it's 2 weeks. Nobody fucking knows anything. Why are you making me sit here and do this? But now I'm happy that we get to look back on where we had these teams, because I feel like now, and I hope I said something this smart at the time, and if I didn't, I'll just pretend that I did. Like, I hope I said something like a month from now, we'll know a lot more, because I do feel like sitting here today, we know a hell of a lot more about the league than we did a month ago.
Yeah, of course. I think that was the entire point of this project, is that you do one at the beginning of the season and you update it as you go month by month, and you literally track the progress of how well teams did, how far teams fell off. Look, are you into college football at all? Like, do you follow college football in any way, shape, or form?
If again,
can you name the 4 teams that are currently in the BCS college football playoff? Like, currently top God. 4 ranked.
I mean, I could say names of schools that I know are good football schools.
So guess.
Alabama.
So Alabama is currently ranked number 3.
Ohio State.
Ohio State lost to Michigan last Saturday.
Is Michigan?
Michigan's now number 2.
There's
a team Alabama is playing on Sunday that is undefeated for the SEC championship game. It's Georgia, the Bulldogs.
Okay, I know who they are.
And then there's this controversy, some controversy, as Jimmy Fallon likes to say that they say in England, because Cincinnati is undefeated. I think they're 13-0, 12-0, something like that.
But they play in a lesser. They
played nobody except Notre Dame. Their one big out of conference win is Notre Dame. They beat them in South Bend. Okay, and like the rest of the college football world is like, they don't have a hard enough schedule. Put Ohio State in, put Oregon in, put Oklahoma State, who's got 1 loss and a tougher schedule. Put Notre Dame in, even though Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati. Okay. So Cincinnati is currently ranked number 4. And I think if they win on Sunday, they'll get in. But there is precedent in the past that they will bump them down because their schedule isn't as tough.
So what made you think of this?
So at the beginning of every college football season, without ever playing a game, they set out a ranking of 25 teams.
This is true.
It's interesting to see as the season goes along, like, oh, this team was ranked 12, like Miami, the Hurricanes were ranked, I think, 11th to start the season. They played Alabama, got killed. They have not been ranked since week 3. So that is that much I know. Spirit in which we are doing these power rankings. Is you set a template, which we did before the season. You ranked 30 teams. Then a month in, we re-rank them. Then 2 months in, we re-rank them, and so on and so forth.
So you have my list up from the last time. I don't have it up. I don't want to see it because I don't want to get I don't want to get confused. But I will count on you to let me and the listeners know where I had whatever the team was ranked the last time we did this a month ago.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I have a request. Can we start from the top down?
Oh, you want to start from the you don't want to start from the bottom and now you're here. You want to start from the top.
I want to start from the top because and we'll alternate. How about this? We'll start from last time we started from the bottom.
That's going to get confusing. Let's just go top down. That's cool. Final review.
No, I'm saying next time
number 1 and go all the way down.
Next time we record the pod, maybe we'll go from the bottom up again. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
And that's fine. Let's get number 1 out the way. Let's start from the top, the most interesting, and work our way down.
So I think the only question at the top is whether there are teams that deserve their own tier. Obviously, there is a top tier in the NBA, and I think that much has been well established at this point. But is there a case that there should be someone or multiple someones in their own tier within the top tier?
Okay.
And I think the only teams that we're talking about are Phoenix and Golden State, right?
Those would be the top two teams, especially after watching the Knicks give no chance of a game against Phoenix, which I get it. That was the last Kemba game. I don't know how much you want to play.
Listen, it was a moment. It was a moment in the late third quarter where I think it was Obi had like a dunk or something. It was a 14-point game. I'm going to stop talking. Okay. Phoenix is number one.
The Phoenix game to what the Knicks did with Brooklyn last night is my point.
That's literally your argument. That's your argument. And 17 wins in a row is a thing that's happening right now. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to split the baby. I'm going to put Phoenix at number one. I'm not going to give them their own tier. And I don't
think they deserve their own tier either.
No. Although, I mean, look, they kicked the shit out of Brooklyn too. That game wasn't close. And like, even the Warriors game was like, I mean, it was close, but and Curry, obviously, as we know, did not hit anything.
Steph, geez, man, I've jumped on the Steph bandwagon, and then we put all of these prize picks parlays on him to just get over 4.5 threes.
They baited us with the Taco Tuesday.
They apparently knew that this was going to be the game that he goes 4 for 21. Like if we did field goals made 4.5, we would have missed, John.
They knew.
Yeah, they knew. Well played.
Actually, I haven't listened. Shout out to Big Picture. I haven't listened to a Big Picture episode in weeks.
Well, that's rewatchables. That's the overacting.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to any. You know why? Because I listen to Final Score too much now.
Final review, but yes, you listen to stuff I do now. Thank you. I appreciate that.
See, you know why I said we're really getting off here. You know why I said Final Score? Because I saw.
Yeah, Yash has listened to 5 podcasts this year, and one is a podcast I haven't done since March. Thank you, Yash, for your support.
Okay. Before everybody shuts this podcast off, Phoenix number 1, Golden State number 2. I think there's actually an interesting discussion for number 3, because if you go by net rating, it's funny, even amidst this crazy winning streak, Utah still has the second best net rating in basketball at 9.8. It's actually not close. They're at 9.8, and Phoenix is 7.2, and Golden State's still way ahead at 12.6. But like Brooklyn has kind of looked more like Brooklyn. They don't have a big win, but they've looked good. And of course, Milwaukee, as we're recording this, I was actually watching the game before. Milwaukee has won 7 in a row. They're engaged in a battle royale with the feisty Charlotte Hornets as we're recording this. I'm sorry, we can't say who's going to win that game right now. I'll give Utah the benefit of the doubt because Brooklyn does not have. Hell, you could argue the Knicks game might be their most quality win. They had a good win against Boston too. And I'll go Brooklyn 4, Milwaukee 5. If I knew the Bucks were going to win this game, I might feel differently, but I'm seeing right now it's 113 all with 5 minutes to go. Can I go back and change this later?
I will allow you to adjust your list if it's really that close that if Milwaukee loses to Charlotte, they'll change things. This would be their
8th win in a row, and I think the key when having this discussion is Milwaukee started the season off healthy. They beat the Nets in their championship parade ring night, whatever the hell it was. And then immediately Brook Lopez went out with an injury, and Drew Holiday went down with an injury soon after that, and Chris Middleton went down. Well, guess what? They've had their like a real starting lineup for the last 7 games, and guess what? They haven't lost in the last 7 games because
started to look like the defending champs.
Yeah, because Middleton's back and Holiday's back, and Portis, God love him, is fitting in well with that team and that starting lineup. And Grayson Allen, Jesus Christ,
it's actually quite infuriating how good Ted Cruz's young doppelganger looks.
But it's funny because
in the league right now,
there was some discussion about when they gave him that little mini contract extension in the summertime, like kind of a lot of money for Grayson Allen. Well, shit, I bet they wish they locked him up for a few more dollars, or rather a few more years at this point.
Can I make a case for? I actually think you're onto something with putting Milwaukee ahead of Brooklyn.
Sure, yeah.
Like, what is Brooklyn's signature win this year? Because I knew it was bad. Like they beat the Hawks in overtime, and they just beat the Knicks, and then Like they've lost to the Heat at home. They lost to Golden State at home. They lost to Phoenix at home.
They lost to Milwaukee on opening night.
They beat the Sixers early in the season. The second game of the season. In
a game that the Sixers were up by 1 million points and then completely disintegrated down the stretch. The Boston game I thought was impressive because Boston, as we'll talk about soon, has been playing well, I think, of late. They've had some weird losses. Like I was watching the end of the game they played against Spurs, that the Spurs came back and won. Like Boston was like should have won that game and they just couldn't make the plays. Like they demolished Boston. And I mean, they were on their way to demolishing the Knicks, and then the Knicks kind of came back and made it a game.
They didn't demolish the Knicks.
They didn't demolish. No, you're right. You're right.
Just switched their starting point guard to come back in their building. This is me trying to say if you're going to be a top 4 team, then you got to put that game away in the third quarter.
You want to give them 4A and 4B. That's fine. I'll again, for me, this is kind of, as we talked about a little bit last time, a combination of like, where are these teams now? Plus where will they be? Like, I still think you could argue that Milwaukee is the championship favorite right now. It doesn't mean I'm going to put them at number 1. But it's a little bit of both. So I guess for me, I'm going to give Brooklyn a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because of those two monsters. But it's a toss up.